Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Detroit.
Tigers baseball on Fox Sports Detroit is presented by
Bell Tire.
With the final week of the regular season upon us, it is a gorgeous night for baseball here in the Motor City. And the Tigers, well, they're looking pretty good right now for a playoff berth. A 2-game lead over Kansas City in the American League Central Division. That means the magic number, well, it's down to 3. Hi again, everyone. Welcome to Tigers Baseball. Mario and Pemba alongside Rod Allen. Glad to have you with us here for Game 1 in this big 4-game weekend series against the Minnesota Twins. It's big, Rod, because who knows? We might just have a celebration in a day or so here.
You know, it'll be the 4th consecutive year the Tigers were able to capture the American League Central crown. If they are able to do so, they'll be able to do it at home, Mario. They'll be popping bottles here at American Park.
Yeah, and it'll be fun. We know that. Now, Max Scherzer is going for his 18th victory of the season tonight. Well, we wondered how Max would follow up his Cy Young season of last year. He's done a pretty good job.
He's been stellar this year. Max really has done nothing this year that he did not do last year. There's a couple of guys that have had better years, which means he probably won't win the Cy Young, but take a look where he ranks with wins. 17 of those. That's second in the American League. Tons of strikeouts. He's pitched a ton of innings. And how about this? 110 pitches per game. He's an ace. He's a horse. When he goes out there, he's usually out there for a while. Overpowering fastball in the mid to upper 90s with 3 outstanding secondary pitches. That would be the curveball, that would be the slider, and that would be that change piece that Maxwell features. He'll have to go up against a Minnesota team, however, tonight that's pretty much had the Tigers' way this year. They've pounded Tigers pitching.
All right, hopefully the Tigers get a step closer to that Central Division title, and after a short break, we'll send you back to the Call Sam Studios. Check in with Mickey York. You know, it was 1987 the last time the Tigers were able to celebrate here at home. Hopefully that'll be the case this weekend. Tigers Twins coming up next. Park tonight, the Tigers and the Minnesota Twins going at it. The first of 4. The Tigers' magic number down to 3. And Max Scherzer is on the hill tonight for the Tigers. Danny Santana settles in. And here we go. The first pitch of tonight's ball game is a ball outside, 1-0. Max Scherzer tonight, presented by Family Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
And Max looking for win number 18 against the Minnesota Twins. Max has gone over the 200 strikeout plateau now for the 3rd consecutive season in his last 6 starts right here at Comerica Park. He's been tough to beat, 128 as far as the ERA is concerned.
Danny Santana, meanwhile, has been a tough out for the Tigers, batting .319 overall this year. The 1-1 pitch is swung on and missed, 1-2 on Santana. .319 with 7 homers, 40 RBIs. And you see the numbers against the Tigers, .386 this year. Now Scherzer ready with the 1-2. And it's slow, 2 balls, 2 strikes. It's been a really good rookie season for Santana. Certainly will receive some votes for Rookie of the Year. Will not win the honor, but he'll be up there. Brian Dozier waiting on deck. Here's the 2-2. Swing and a miss. Down he goes. And Max strikes him out.
A real good slider down and in to Santana here, thrown by Max, and to get his first strikeout of the evening.
Here's the lineup for the Twins, presented tonight by the Metro Detroit Chevy dealers. You saw Santana 123 hits this year in his rookie campaign. Dozier and Mauer to follow, then Vargas, Arcia, and Suzuki in the middle. Herman, Hicks, and Escobar rounded out for Ron Gardenhire. Here's Brian Dozier, and he looks at a strike call. Dozier at .240, good power numbers this year, 21 home runs, putting the Raps in a pretty good season despite the fact that his average is a bit low. That's fouled back out of play on 2.
And some of the secondary numbers are pretty good. 33 doubles this season for the number 2 hitter Dozier, a .345 on base percentage. And as you mentioned, he's already scored over 100 runs, 106 to be exact.
However, Max has him in the hole now. No balls, 2 strikes. Popped up. Foul ground, first base side. Cabrera. Nice play.
Let's take a look at the Tigers starting defense presented by Beaumont Health System. Same way they lined up in the series just completed here. Martinez, Davis, Hunter in the outfield. Castellanos, Suarez, Kinsler, Miggy in the infield, and Alex Avila. Well, he's the catcher tonight. Only 8 errors this month for the Tigers, which is 8th, tied for the fewest in baseball.
Meanwhile, Cabrera, nice running play on that ball down the first base line. It'll be 2 up, 2 down. Here is Joe Mauer.
He usually takes the first pitch.
And it's a strike.
Therefore, most Tiger starters, they will throw it right down the middle.
.276 this year for Mauer, 52 driven in. Not good numbers against Max, just 1 for 14. Here's the 0-1. Scherzer coming out throwing strikes tonight.
Yeah, real nice breaking ball there at 78 miles an hour after the first pitch fastball at 93 to Mauer. The Scherzer fan, she's got a real nice seat too.
Now the 0-2. Swing and a miss, struck him out. Maxwell looking good in the first inning. His 2nd strikeout of the ballgame. a scoreless game as we go to the bottom of the first. The Tigers starting 9, presented by the Southeast Michigan Ford dealers. It'll be Kinsler, Hunter, and Cabrera at the top. And boy, has Torrey done some major damage against his former team. Victor, the DH, J.D. Martinez at left. Castellanos at third, bottom three of Avila, Suarez, and Rajay Davis. And they are facing the right-handed offerings of Trevor May.
And Trevor May hoping to be in that rotation next year for the Minnesota Twins, making his 9th start of this year. 3 wins, 5 losses, elevated earned run average, only 1 quality start, 37 strikeouts, 21 base on balls for Trevor May.
So here is Ian Kinsler to start things off for the Tigers. Batting .275. Kinsler 4 out of 12 in the just completed series against the Chicago White Sox.
And Trevor May's got a fastball that will top out at about 95, average 92. He's got a changeup, curveball, slider. Not many sliders to the left-handers, but he throws lots of sliders to right-handed batters.
Strike called on Ian. Kinsler now with 98 runs scored this year. 2 more to get to 100 for the 5th time in his career. There's a strike 0-2.
Real simple delivery for May. And not a lot of moving parts. It's almost like he's working out of the stretch.
25 years of age, out of Longview, Washington, Trevor May. Suzuki wants a fastball away, and he just missed the corner with it.
And May last year spent the entire season in Double-A New Britain and led the league in strikeouts with 159. So he's got a power arm.
Foul tip into the glove for strike 3.
Let's take a look at the starting defense for the Minnesota Twins this evening. It's presented to you by Tim Hortons. Herman in the outfield, 8th career start in left field, only 1 error in 59 games in the outfield. Hicks in center, RC in right, Escobar, Santana, Dozier, Mauer in the infield, and their all-star this season, their catcher, Kurt Suzuki.
So with 1 out, here is Torrey Hunter. He'll foul the first pitch out of play.
And it looks like May going to come out here in the very first inning and establish his fastball. He's thrown a couple here, 92 to 94. He'll have to mix in some off-speed pitches because he will not be able to overpower this Tigers offense all night long.
Shot the other way. That's a fair ball down the line. Extra bases for Torrey. That's going to hit the sidewall. Hunter is on his way to second. He'll step there.
And that is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. You have to throw an off-speed pitch. You have to throw a changeup to some of these dangerous fastball hitters. And Torrey would fall into that category. He takes this 94-mile-per-hour fastball that's away and creates the proper bat angle to slice it down in the right field corner for a double.
And that's an 11-game hitting streak now for Torrey.
And a lot of those games during the 11-game hitting streak were multi-hit games.
So a very early scoring chance now for the Tigers as Miguel Cabrera stands in.
You know, somebody's got to pay today. Mickey had a rough afternoon yesterday with 4 strikeouts.
Heyman might just be received right here. There's an off-speed pitch up high, 1-0.
In case you weren't with us yesterday, there was a little bit of an issue between Sale and Victor Martinez, and I was talking to Mickey about that confrontation yesterday, and I said, well, after one of your strikeouts, and he said, what strikeouts? I didn't strike out yesterday. So he had a sense of humor today.
Here's the 1-0, and it's fouled straight back.
And here's some of that stuff that happened yesterday. 3rd inning, he struck out Victor, and apparently Sale felt like somebody in the outfield may have been tipping pitchers to Victor, so he nailed him the next time up, and then he went on to tell everybody what he thought he was saying out in center.
Bench is empty, but that was about it. 1-1 is a breaking ball hit to third. Diving stop there by Escobar, and he'll throw out Cabrera.
Escobar has gotten most of his reps at the shortstop position this year, having a great offensive season, and makes a real nice play here to take a base hit away from Miguel. A couple of steps to the left, the dive.
So Hunter at third base now with 2 outs. And that'll bring up Victor Martinez, the designated hitter. .334. but against the Twins, just under 400. 383 this year for Victor.
Yeah, he's like Superman against the Twinkies.
Martinez, like Cabrera, has reached the 100 plateau in RBIs this year. And he looks at a strike in the inside part of the plate, and Victor has a long look for Ron Culpa. Here's the 0-1. Make it 0-2 now on Martinez.
No shift whatsoever defensively on Martinez. Very few teams that will play Victor straight up. Ron Gardenhire's team is one of those teams. I guess if you're hitting 383 against a particular team, why vacate positions and create holes for a guy that's already killed you?
Here's the 0-2. Well, we've documented how Victor loves to hit with 2 strikes, and no everyday player has hit 300 or better in a 2-strike count since 2007. Placido Polanco did it that year.
Yeah, Victor well over that. Polanco could really handle that bat, couldn't he?
Oh, he could, man. Out of that 2 spot in the Tigers lineup.
He had some great years in the Tigers union.
Driven deep to right field. Way back. That ball is going to go. It's gone. A home run for Martinez. Number 32. And again, he did it with 2 strikes in the count.
Well, where Trevor May messed up is the fact that he showed Victor this really slow breaking ball that Victor's about to hit out of the ballpark on the very first strike. And a guy that's as good as Victor is with 2 strikes, you can't show him the pitch early in the count that you want to eventually try to get him out with. That same slow breaking ball down and in. Victor just dropped the barrel of the bat into the strike zone and connects for a home run in the first inning with a couple of bases open. May gets beat by one of the best hitters in baseball this year.
What did he pay for it? 2-0 in favor of the Tigers. And here is J.D. Martinez.
We watched Robin Ventura, of the Chicago White Sox walk Victor Martinez with Sale on the mound yesterday. Chris Sale on the mound yesterday with a base open in the first inning.
Here's a 1-0 pitch, and that's fouled straight back. Well, you would think at this point in the season that you would certainly either be extremely careful with Victor or just put him on with a base open. And Victor does it again. It's 102 RBIs now for Martinez. Here's the 1-1. Ground ball to short. A step to his right, Santana. That'll end the inning. Tigers get on the board first. Hunter with a double, and Victor goes deep. 2-0 Detroit. Fox Sports Detroit is brought to you by Comerica Bank, a part of Detroit and the community since 1849. By Jeep, come in and get a great deal at the Jeep Celebration event. And by Purina Dog Chow brand dog food, nutritious meals for healthy, strong dogs. Beautiful scene here in downtown Detroit. Comerica Park, the site. The Tigers out to a quick 2-0 lead. They came in with a magic number of 3, trying to cut into that here tonight. As Scherzer misses low to Kenny Vargas. He'll be followed by Arcia and then Suzuki.
And Vargas has slowed down just a little bit, but he's already had a nice couple of months in the big leagues. 9 homers, 38 driven in, but he's been getting a steady diet of breaking pitches.
Which I guess is not to be discounted. I mean, you kind of figure that, right?
Well, you're going to get your fastballs when you first come to the movies. They want to see if you can hit a really good heater. And Vargas proved that he could do that. And so opposing teams have simply gone to off-speed pitches once they get ahead of them.
Scherzer nails the outside corner with a fastball.
That might be the best pitch that Vargas gets in this sequence. Max can come back with a changeup. He's already thrown a couple of really good off-speed pitches as well.
Swing and a miss. Another heater.
Tardy on it, too.
You mentioned Vargas has slowed down a bit. He's 0 for his last 13 at bats. Still, though, the Twins excited about what he could bring to the future. Still very young, 24 years old. And Max missed outside, 3-2.
And here's where a guy like Vargas will up there be sitting on a fastball. No doubt, and he should. Max has got 95 in his back pocket, but Max also has the ability to throw a changeup right here to get his 3rd strikeout of the game should he choose to go that route.
Lifted back out of play. He chose the fastball that time. Count stays 3-2.
As Max likes to term it, I'm going to let my fastball eat tonight.
It's been pretty hungry fastball this year.
Yeah.
It has eaten a lot.
Well over 200 strikeouts again for Max.
Ooh, he walked him outside. Ball 4.
And he missed with that changeup.
First base runner of the game for Minnesota. Here are the field conditions tonight, presented by Ace Hardware and the Scotts Company. Beautiful late September night here. It is 72 degrees. Dry, partly cloudy, and the Tigers Twins opening up this 4-game set. Here is Oswaldo Arcia. He only has a .228 average, but he's hit 19 home runs this year.
And when he usually hits them, there's no doubt about him. He's got a lot of pop in his bat. And he swings awfully hard.
And he usually lets you know when he's hit one too, doesn't he?
Oh yeah, he got a few style points.
However, against the Tigers this year, he's got a couple of homers, but batting just 103. There's that big swing.
He swings so hard. The last time the Tigers saw the Minnesota Twins in their ballpark not that long ago, he took a swing so hard and that he had to leave the game with a bad bat.
And did not play the next day either. Scherzer ready with the 1-1. That's in there, 1-2 on Oswaldo Arcia.
That's a good fastball there by Max. And by the way that Arcia took that fastball that was right down the middle, he must be sitting on something soft, either the curveball or the changeup.
Whistled back out of play. Arcia has hit the majority of his home runs in the second half. 14 of the 19 have come after the All-Star break. He's got Vargas at first base. Leadoff walk here in the second. Tigers up 2-0. And again the 1-2. It'll bounce in. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Arcia, they say, Rod, was holding his hands a little bit lower earlier in the year, and what they did was get him to hold them a little bit higher, and all of a sudden the power numbers have jumped.
Well, it really helps when you come down through the baseball opposed to that uppercut swing that Arcia had earlier in the year. He was swinging underneath a lot of fastballs, but by raising the hands ever so slightly, better path to the baseball.
And Scherzer comes back to strike him out. Third strikeout of the game for Max. Let's check in now with Justin White.
Well, Mario, last night at sundown marked the beginning of the Jewish New Year, also known as Rosh Hashanah. And this year marks the 80th anniversary of a story involving Tiger Greenberg. In September of 1934, the Tigers were Yankees for the American League pennant. And Greenberg, who was Jewish, had a dilemma on his hands on Rosh Hashanah. Should he his faith, or should he team really needed him? Greenberg thought about it. He even consulted his rabbi. In the end, here's what he did. Greenberg went to synagogue in the morning, and in the afternoon, he went to Navin Field and hit 2 home runs, including a walk-off winner as the Tigers beat the Red Sox 2-1, and the Tigers went on to win the American League pennant, their first since 1909.
J-Dub, thanks. And, well, that's a full day, and that's finding the best way to make everyone happy, I suppose. What a day for Hank Greenberg. And what a great player he was. There's a ball missing inside to Kurt Suzuki.
Hank Greenberg was a wonderful man as well, and I've told this story in the past. His son, Steve, used to be my agent when I first got into professional baseball, and Steve used to take me to the Beverly Hills Country Club, and his dad was playing tennis there every day, and his tennis partner was Walter Matthau. So here I am, 17, 18 years old, sitting down having lunch with Hank Greenberg and Walter Matthau, and of course his son Steve. And it wasn't the only time that I did it. I mean, I went there quite often, and he couldn't have been a nicer man. Walter Matthau obviously was very, very funny, and to watch those two play tennis before we had lunch was comical. They were very, very competitive.
Now, was Walter Matthau a better actor-comedian than he was a tennis player?
No, I don't think so. I think he was an actor.
There's a strike called, Suzuki.
It was quite a thrill. I mean, I really didn't understand it totally at the time because I really didn't know that much about Hank Greenberg. But once I got to know a little bit about him, it was a very special time for me.
Yeah, Hank, a career .313 hitter, hit over 300 home runs, was a fabulous Tiger. Here's the 3-1. That's outside, another walk, so Scherzer's walked a pair here in the second.
Hank's son, Steve, is so well respected. He still lives in the New York area with his family that he was given some consideration for the next commissioner of baseball.
Really?
Once Bud Selig shuts it down.
Well, you got to have a lot of people in your corner if you want that kind of.
Very bright man, very smart man.
Well, here is Chris Herman. He's batting now with the tying runs on. 1 out. We're in the second here at Comerica. Home run by Victor Martinez, the difference so far. And it's in there for a strike, 0-1.
Just about every fastball that Max has thrown already here today has been about 94 miles an hour. That's his four-seam fastball.
Scherzer 3 strikeouts already. Bouncing ball foul, first base side. 0-2 the count on Herman. Well, when Max recorded his first out of the ballgame tonight, the strikeout of Santana, it established a career high in innings pitched in a single season.
Max has averaged 110 pitches per start this year, and which is the most in the American League. So usually when Max goes out there, he's out there for 6, 7, on many nights, 8 innings.
He's over 215 this season, innings pitched. Lifted back out of play. 0-2 the count stays on Chris Herman.
And don't know for sure, don't know what Max will do this offseason, but he is a free agent. And we have well documented that during the course of this year. And it could be very well the last time Tigers fans see him starting a regular season game in this ballpark, in the home whites.
Now again the 0-2. Checked it, strike three call. Herman is out of there.
So far, Max one step ahead of the Minnesota Twins hitters. A lot of the left-handers have gone up there and looked for off-speed pitches, and Max continues to pour fastballs in there.
How about our predictions for player of the game tonight, presented by McDonald's new triple cheeseburger for just $2. I got Maxwell tonight.
Rajay would be my guy. He's really been using his legs effectively the last couple of days.
Justin White going out on the limb, I see, with Victor Martinez.
He's the leader in the clubhouse right now.
He is that. Here is Hicks. Center fielder tonight for the Twins. Ball outside, 1-0.
Last time we saw the Minnesota Twins, it was Hicks that was playing right field, and it was Danny Santana, who's playing shortstop tonight, was occupying the center field position.
It's really going to be interesting to see how it shakes out next year for the Twins in that center field position. They've got Hicks, they've got Schaefer. Santana appears to be their shortstop.
And that kid of the future, too.
Byron Buxton.
Yeah.
That's a big name that you'll hear plenty of in future years. 1-1 on Hicks. That's a great baseball name, isn't it?
It is. Byron Buxton. And Ron Gardenhire, second longest tenured manager in the big leagues, behind Mike Scioscia of the Angels.
Right called. Ron Culpa again goes up with the right hand. 1-2 on Hicks. Well, Hicks at one time, and by one time I mean last year, was one of their bigger prospects.
He got off to a really slow start last year before they finally sent him down to the minors in August. And he did not perform well in AAA. They didn't even call him up at the end of the season last year.
Scherzer now with the 1-2. And it's fouled off.
Hicks, the last couple of off seasons, has worked with the Hall of Famer Rod Carew in the Los Angeles area on his batting and his bunting.
I remember last year the Tigers opened up in Minnesota, and the rookie was making his first big league start, and all he had to do was face Justin Verlander.
Yeah. Justin struck him out 3 times that night. Welcome to the big leagues, young man.
And Max just missed there. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Scherzer has 17 wins this year, but the Tigers in his 32 starts are 23-9. So they've done really good work. He has given his team a chance just about every time he goes out there. Here's the 2-2. Chop foul.
I cannot remember the last time Max came out in any game and with his foot on the gas pedal as heavy as he's had his foot on the gas pedal so far to start this game. Lots of fastballs, 95, 96. About 70% of Max's pitches thrown so far of the 39 have been fastballs.
And again, the 2-2. It is outside. Hicks was able to lay off. Now it's 3-2. Pretty close.
It looked like Max tried to backdoor Hicks with a slider there.
Many times that is close enough, but not that time. And the 3-2. Runners going, bouncing ball to second. That'll be gobbled up there by Kinsler. And the threat is over. No runs, couple of walks, 2 left. On our way to the bottom of the second. Here is our T-Mobile game changer. Well, it took a while, but the Tigers started playing better baseball at home since August 1st. Only the Orioles have had a better home winning percentage.
Well, they really needed to do as much because the last 3 years, which allowed them to win the division, they really held a really nice home court advantage.
Well, the Tigers overall this year, 43-34 at home, zeroing in on the American League Central Division Championship. Justin Verlander has pitched well in his last couple of starts. Scherzer has done some good things tonight. Here's Nick Castellanos to lead it off as we go to the bottom of the second. It'll be Castellanos, Sevilla, and Suarez. First pitch is drilled to left field. Herman is there, though, for the out.
That's a nice observation by the rookie Castellanos. He noticed that May, in that very first inning, led most of the Tigers hitters off with fastballs, with the exception of Victor Martinez.
We'll bring up Alex Avila. Avila's done some of his better work down the stretch in his career. 275 in the month of September.
Had the afternoon off yesterday after catching the first couple of days of the Chicago White Sox series. B. Holiday, he was on point once again yesterday, handling Justin Verlander beautifully. 8 innings by Justin yesterday. Probably his best overall outing of the season.
What a great sign heading into the postseason as well.
Had a good fastball, 95, 96. Secondary stuff was crisp.
Avila 1 for 8 in the homestand. There's JV, who was also really good last September, and that was able to lead into the postseason as well, where he dominated the Athletics. He has the one thing that certainly becomes really important in the postseason, Rod, and that's experience.
And that power arm. Didn't need a lot of strikeouts yesterday. Had 6, but didn't walk a batter for the second consecutive outing. Welcome back, by the way.
Thank you. Not really 100%, but thanks to Matt Shepard and John Keating for chipping in the last couple of days. We're getting there. Admit it, you enjoyed it without me in the booth the last
Never.
Chuck threw a party and everything.
Chuck Fair behind us did a few cartwheels, though.
Good old stage manager Chuck Fair.
Said Mario's away today. We can have some fun.
He greeted me today by saying, "Oh, you're back." 3-1 on Avila. Foul tip into the glove. 3-2.
Good count to hit in if you're Avila. 3 balls and 1 strike, and May was able to throw that fastball right by Alex.
They play the shift onto the infield against Avila. The 3-2 is strike 3 called. Alex punched out of there. 2 gone. Well, tickets for potential American League Division Series games are on sale now. Guaranteed tickets for all potential Tigers postseason simply by placing a 2015 season ticket deposit. Visit Tigers.com for more details. The strikeout of Avila was the second in the ballgame now for May, and that'll bring up Eugenio Suarez. Missed it. 1-0 the count on Suarez. May gave up the double to Hunter and the home run to Victor in the first inning. 1-0 pitch, low, 2-0. Trevor May was acquired from the Phillies. He was originally a 4th-round pick of the Phils back in 2008. Fouled off.
Yeah, the Minnesota Twins desperately needed some starting pitching, although he was a minor leaguer at the time, but they had a feeling that he would emerge as a quality big league starter. And the Minnesota Twins traded Ben Revere, a speedy outfielder, to the Philadelphia Phillies.
A little high to Suarez. 3-1.
Suarez is going to get that same fastball that Avila got at about 92, 93 miles an hour.
And he pops it up. Left side of the infield, Santana is there, and Trevor May has a 1-2-3 inning. Tigers baseball tonight presented by Bell Tire. Ball game. Max Scherzer back to the hill, enjoying the 2-0 advantage. Had a couple of walks in the second, no damage though. And Max has struck out 4 already as Escobar stands in for Minnesota. Swinging on the first pitch, and he flies one to left center. Davis along with Martinez, and it's JD with the catch. 1 out. Hey, by the way, you know what time it is? Time for you to tweet your photo using hashtag #DetroitFanPhoto for a chance to have it shown in an upcoming game broadcast brought to you by AT&T. One out for Danny Santana. Max struck him out to start the ball game. Santana batting .318 for the year. Ball one inside. Really, since settling into the leadoff spot, Santana's done a really nice job. 77 games as a leadoff hitter, .306 in that capacity. Pulls that one foul.
The majority of his work this year has come as a center fielder, and it was a position that was foreign to him when the season began. But they say that he is going to be their shortstop of the future.
Well, we know this. He's on solid footing going into next year based on what he's done this season.
They say he's got outstanding range at the shortstop position. He's got really fast hands. He's got a strong throwing arm.
Swing and a miss. He chased that time. Scherzer has another strikeout. We'll bring up Brian Dozier. It also brings us to our Bernstein advantage. Who do you think has the advantage here, Scherzer or Dozier?
And it's got to be Maxwell. 2 for 16 is Dozier against Max with 7 strikeouts. Dozier dead pull hitter, but he can't catch up to the Max fastball.
Dozier popped up his first time up, and he looks at ball one. Well, the Twins have scored a lot of runs. In fact, the most in the majors since August 1st, and many of those runs have been scored by Brian Dozier, who has scored 106 this season. Only Mike Trout has more. Here's the 1-1. They get 1 and 2 on Dozier.
And they've scored a boatload of runs against the Tigers in that span since August 1st.
Boy, haven't they. And you look at the season series as you scope out the pitch count on Max. Twins have won 8 and the Tigers 7 in the season series.
They've averaged 5 runs a game against the Tigers in the 15 meetings.
Two and two. Tigers this year won the season series with Cleveland, Chicago, and KC, but they trail against the Twins. Off the end of the bat, foul.
Rick Anderson there on the left of your screen. Long-time pitching coach sitting next to Phil Hughes, who has had a marvelous year in his first year in a Minnesota Twins uniform.
They're going to have to get Hughes some help, though.
Yeah, they do.
In the future seasons, Hughes really coming over to Minnesota and doing a spectacular job.
Phil Hughes might be the leader in the clubhouse as far as the comeback player of the year award in the American League. We've well documented the fact that JD Martinez should get some honorable mentions, but Phil Hughes won only 4 games last year for the Yankees, 16 this year for his new team.
And the strikeout to walk ratio off the charts, 11.5 to 1.
Lots of fastballs. He's had a great year. All he needed to do was get out of Yankee Stadium.
The 3-2. Walked him, man. That's another walk for Max, his third.
Let's take a look at Max's first confrontation this evening with Joe Mauer. Mauer, as we well documented, he takes the first pitch all the time. So Max throws it right down the middle. Then he backdoors him with a really nice breaking ball to get strike 2. And then this next pitch, I'm still trying to figure out what it was. It's 90 miles an hour, and it looked like a cutter. Max usually does not throw a slider that hard. There was no depth on that pitch. There was more east to west movement. As a matter of fact, Max has thrown a pitch similar to that a couple of times this evening already.
Mauer skies this one down the left field line, so this time he went after that first pitch.
I took a stroll over to the Tigers radio booth and was chatting with Jim and Dan to find out if they knew something we didn't know. Had Max started throwing a cut fastball, and they weren't aware of it either.
Well, it certainly had slider action.
Without the depth.
Without the depth. But it was at what, 90, 91?
It was 90.
Mauer waits on the 0-1. Did they offer you any pie when you went to the radio?
Not today.
Not today. All right. Just checking.
You want me to go see if they got peace for you?
If you don't mind. They usually have 3 or 4 pies floating around the radio booth every night. 1-1 on Mauer.
And Dozier quite a few swipes this year. And he's got 21 of those. He's been caught 7 times. Also 21 homers for Dozier.
Max holding. And he missed outside. 2-1 on Mauer. Scherzer's done spectacular work here at home this year. He's 10-1 at Comerica Park. And his ERA 2.66. So he's been about as automatic at home as he could possibly be. I'll tip into the glove. 2-2 on Joe Mauer. Kenny Vargas waiting on deck because Scherzer is about to deliver his 60th pitch of the night. Lifted foul.
Mauer, by well, you know that he likes to hit the ball the opposite way. And most of his hits are to left field. That's why the Tigers bunch him in that area. Rajay Davis shading him ever so slightly toward left field. And they also bunch him up the middle. Only 15 to the pool field for Joe Mauer.
A little bit outside, 3-2. Well, if there were ever a guy that you might play a severe shift against, it might be Mauer, only the other way. But the Tigers are fairly straight up. Ian Kinsler, the second baseman, maybe a step or two toward the bag.
Martinez in left, not very shallow. Usually when Joe hits the ball in that direction, not the power to drive it into the seats. Only 4 homers total this season for Joe.
Runner will go here on 3-2. And it's drilled down the right field line, but it's going to go foul.
He tomahawked that 94-mile-per-hour fastball thrown by Max there. Doesn't do it very often. Joe Mauer also one of those guys that visibly kind of spreads out with 2 strikes. Saw the action on the front foot on that last swing. Doesn't do much with it. He's already spread out about as far as he wants to go.
Swing and a miss, struck him out. Boy, Scherzer starting to pile him up now. That's 6 already. He's given up 3 walks, but he's been able to pitch around him. Still 2-0 Detroit. Around the big leagues, too. How about Derek Jeter's final home game tonight? Boy, that has got to be something in Yankee Stadium.
He's already doubled and he's already scored a run. You know it's a party in the new Yankee Stadium tonight, honoring their captain, Derek Jeter, his final home game.
Here is Rajay Davis to start it off. It'll be Davis, Kinsler, and Hunter. Facing right-hander Trevor May. Low. 1 ball, 1 strike. May had a 1-2-3 second after giving up 2 in the first on the home run by Victor. In there, a strike. 1-2. Bouncing ball, second base. Routine there for Dozier. Rajay is out, 1 gone. 5 in a row now is set down. And Saturday MLB returns to Fox for Derek Jeter's final weekend series as the Yankees take on David Ortiz and the Red Sox, while the Pirates battle for playoff position against the Reds on Fox Sports 1. It all starts at 12:30 Eastern on Fox and 1 p.m. Eastern on Fox Sports 1.
Yankees Boston on Saturday baseball. That's a shocker.
It's stunning, isn't it? You took the words out of my mouth. You said it first. Strike 1 on Kinsler. He struck out in the first inning. The 0-1 is a ball low and away. 1 ball, 1 strike.
And by now, those of you that have watched Tigers baseball all season, you know that Ian Kinsler's a dead fastball hitter. He loves to pull the baseball.
Skies this one in the air to shallow left. Herman coming on, but it's the shortstop Santana, and he does a flipperoo around him as well.
Well, if you're Herman and you know you can catch that ball, even though Santana has really good range at the shortstop position, you simply have to call him off. There could be no collision here whatsoever. And it sounded like he was calling it.
Yeah.
Well, it looked like he was calling it.
So with 2 outs, here is Torrey Hunter. Torrey had a double in his first at bat. He went the other way down the right field line.
And both of the starting pitchers here tonight are both pounding that strike zone with a lot of firm four-seam fastballs. The pitch count, however, of May's in much better shape than Max's is. Max already thrown 63 pitches through 3.
Yeah, a lot of strikeouts, and he has walked 3. That'll pile him up. 0-2 on Hunter. That one gets through Suzuki to the backstop.
Well, it's hockey season. That one went right through the 5-hole.
No, you're really improving on your hockey terminology. I'm impressed.
I need to find a few more, though.
I've noticed you've also used that one quite a bit, but that's okay.
Kick, save, and a beauty.
Here's the 1-2. Swing and a miss. Struck him out. 7 straight retired by Trevor May now. He's in a groove, and we go to the 4th. As we go to the top of the 4th inning here at the ballpark tonight, Max Scherzer goes back to the hill. It's been kind of a mixed bag. I mean, he's been real dominant with 6 strikeouts, but he has issued 3 walks in this game.
He needs an easy pitch inning.
And he missed inside to Kenny Vargas. Kenny's got an S on the end of his first name, which I'm sure you're asking, why aren't you pronouncing it Kenny's? Here's the 1-0. Swing and a miss. Well, as the story goes, his mom prefers Kenny's because there's an S. Mr. Vargas apparently wants Kenny. So who should we go with?
Well, we should go with Mom, but there ain't many sons that go against Mom.
There's a strike called, 1-2.
Dad, however, that is another story for another day.
Got that right. When Kenrys Morales first came up, I think he was Kendry, and then he went with the S, which he now uses, Kendrys. Here's a swing and a miss. See you later. That is 7 strikeouts now for Max.
Well, he started them off with a fastball, and then he continued to finish off Vargas with some really good slow changeup. And really, that's been the issue for Vargas lately. He's been getting a steady diet of off-speed pitches.
Here's Oswaldo Arcia. And there's a strike. The Twins have put just 3 balls in play tonight. Arcia didn't. He struck out in the first. He's going to put that one in play and find a gap in left center. That's going to be their first hit of the night. All the way to the wall. It's a 1-out 2-base hit for Oswaldo Arcia.
That may be the most under-controlled swing I've seen Arcia take since he's come to the big leagues. 16th double of the year, 93-mile-per-hour fastball that is tailing inside, but he takes a real nice path to the ball. The swing is under control. He goes from point A to point B, and he drills that ball in the left center field gap. I know they would love to see him take better swings like that. More swings like that, I should say.
Here is Kurt Suzuki. He had a base on balls his first time up. One on, one out. Twins batting here in the 4th. The Tigers lead 2-0. Swing and a miss. They've signed Suzuki through 2016 with an option for the 17 campaign. They've been so enamored with the production he's given them this year. He was an all-star this season. And he hits that one off of Avila. Where'd it get him?
Right knee, I think. Inner thigh, just above the right knee.
Once the season comes to a close, I have a feeling Avila's going to sit on the couch for about a month.
Why wouldn't he?
He'll do absolutely nothing. Again, just taking a pounding this year. 0-2. Thought about it. He would not chase the breaking ball. 1-2. Pretty good this year with men in scoring position. 324 for Suzuki. Trying to get his team on the board here in the 4th after the double by Arcia. Chopper back up the middle. Kinsler on the move with the backhand. Nice play. Arcia will take third, but that's a nifty play there by Ian Kinsler.
I really like the way that Ian makes this backhanded play. He gets his throwing hand down there close to the glove, so when he does transfer from the glove to the throwing hand, he doesn't have to go very far. Then he's just able to flip it across the diamond to get Suzuki. Yeah, that bag also came into play. He had to dodge second base to make sure he didn't step on it.
So with 2 outs, Arcia standing at third. Here's Chris Herman. Ball 1 to Herman. He was punched out in the second inning. His average now 197. This is his third separate stint with the big club this year. Swing and a miss.
Jordan Schaefer, who had been getting the majority of the reps in the outfield since they acquired him from the Atlanta Braves, is dealing with a sore elbow. He might be good to pinch run here today, but it didn't get the start. But he's performed very well for Minnesota.
75 now for Max. Here's the 1-1. It appears the change of scenery did Schaefer some good. I mean, he's had a pretty good year.
He's always been a guy that a lot of experts in baseball thought would be a really good player. Good range in the outfield, good throwing arm, outstanding speed, but he hadn't hit much. But he had been hitting with Minnesota.
Good block there by Avila. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
It appears that Herman has had a difficult time of catching up to the fastballs that Max has thrown him. And Max has been throwing a lot of fastballs today. That could be the pitch of choice here for Max on the 2-2 count to Herman.
Outside.
Laid off another changeup.
Full count. Max does not want to issue his 4th walk of the game here. And the 3-2. He got him, strike 3. That is 8 strikeouts now for Scherzer. 8. Coming up in the 4th, Vmart hitting second. He's already gone deep in this one tonight. Still 2-0 in favor of the Tigers. We go to the bottom of the fourth here at the ballpark tonight. And just a reminder, as you enjoy a cold one, to look forward to Miller time later in tonight's game, brought to you by Miller Lite. There'll be Miguel Cabrera to start things off for the Tigers. Miggy, V-Mart, and then J.D. Martinez. Cabrera grounded out his first time up. Diving play by Escobar at third base. And Miguel looks at a strike, 0-1. Grounded foul, 0-2.
Miguel Cabrera really struggled last year down the stretch. He was dealing with a hernia issue. Not many of us knew about it at the time, but he would have surgery after the year, and he did not perform very well in the clutch. But take a look at Miggy this year in September. Nearly 400, OPS over 1,100 with 15 extra base hits. Make that 16.
Uh-oh. See you later. Over the bullpen, Miguel Cabrera with a leadoff solo shot of the fourth. That is number 24, and nobody, Rod, these days are talking about that angle.
No. 4 strikeouts yesterday for the big fella. You knew somebody would pay here today.
It's his 107th RBI as well. He killed that thing. When you clear the bullpens, you've gotten it pretty good. And the Tigers have extended the lead down to 3-0. That has brought the crowd to its feet.
He got a hanging breaking ball from Trevor May, and his eyes got big, and Suzuki's eyes got big too. Suzuki knew he wasn't going to catch that one.
That is the definition of a hanging breaking ball. Kapow.
Today, Miguel Cabrera, during batting practice, he was hitting them into that ivy in center field whenever he wanted to, and he was hitting them out there over the statues in left center field. His power the last few days have been ridiculous in BP. Check out the bat boy here, Mario, once Miguel gets over there close to him.
Oh, the bat boys are getting into the act now. That's awesome. Boy, has Cabrera just been a beast this month.
He's been a beast for 11 years now.
1-2 on Victor Martinez. His 2-run shot back in the first inning got the Tigers on the board first.
Well, they're going to talk about it now. Let's take a look at our Bell Tire pitch by pitch. First time Victor Martinez was up, runner on third with 2 outs. Trevor May started him off with that really slow breaking ball. And Victor Martinez, he knew that May was going to try to get back to this pitch right here. 2 fastballs. He swings through one. He takes one. Now here comes the pitch that Victor's sitting on. It's 2 strikes, and he flips it out of the ballpark for a 2-run shot in the first inning. Victor is so smart. We've well documented the damage he does with 2 strikes. Then he had his binoculars once he went down to the Tigers dugout. I have a feeling we're going to have some fun with those binoculars in that last 4 games of the year.
I think you're right. There's a strike called, and Victor this time without binoculars is caught looking.
Did he?
Got to look up the last time he was caught looking.
He might be looking for a while. It's a 94-mile-per-hour fastball painted on the outside, black at the knees.
Well, maybe that's why it seemed just a touch outside. Close enough to call, I suppose. JD with a big swing, 0-1.
You got JD on a slow breaking ball. JD's first time up, he flew out. Grounded out to the third baseman.
Speaking of big Septembers, Martinez has had a rather hot one as well. 377 coming in. High fly ball. Shallow center field. Hicks coming in. 2 outs. Now Castellanos. Nick swung at the first pitch he saw on his first at bat and lined out to the left fielder. Talked about this oftentimes this year, and we've shown you some numbers, but he has one of the higher line drive percentages of anybody in baseball, which is really kind of intriguing for a guy in his first full season in the major leagues. Really, everything that he puts in play, or seemingly, is hit pretty hard. And he looks at a strike 0-1.
He's had a wonderful year. He's fit in very nicely on the left side of the infield. Tigers, by and large, have had one of the youngest left sides of the infield for any team in the majors all year, with Suarez and Castellanos.
.50 now for May, 35 of which have been strikes. Up and in.
And the only 2 runs that he has given up here today, both have come on probably his third best pitch, which is his curveball. Has not been hurt on his fastball so far here this evening.
Ground ball foul, third base side.
If you weren't with us at the top of the show, we told you that May has that 4-seam fastball that'll top out at about 95. Throws quite a few changeups to the left-handers, not so many to the right-handers. More curveballs to the right-handed batters, more sliders to the right-handed batter than he does the lefties.
Ooh, that one nailed Suzuki. He took the brunt of that foul ball. 2-2 the count stays on Castellanos. Nick has 31 doubles this year. Only one rookie has more hits than Castellanos. That would be Abreu.
No, back-to-back changeups.
Got him. 5 strikeouts now for May. Tigers get another run, and it's courtesy of one Miguel Cabrera. He got himself a hanging breaking ball, and it's sitting in the seats. 3-0 Tigers. Detroit is brought to you by the Sam Bernstein Law Firm, official legal services sponsor of Fox Sports Detroit. And by Chevy and Chevy Truck Month, where great deals and great talks come together at your Chevy dealer. Well, the Tigers have added one more, courtesy of a long ball by Miguel Cabrera. And they lead Minnesota 3-0 as we go to the 5th inning tonight. Miggy has gone deep. Victor has gone deep. Middle of the lineup doing it this evening. Scherzer back to the hill and throws a strike to Aaron Hicks. Hicks, Escobar, and then Santana. And he drops down a bunt foul.
Well, we talked about Hicks and the fact that the last couple of off seasons he's worked with Rod Carew, who's still around the Minnesota Twins organization. And Rod Carew, he was one of the best bunters of all time. All time. Could bunt with 2 strikes. He was really a magician with that bat, Rod Carew.
And he was just flat out one of the best hitters of all time.
Hand-eye coordination was exceptional for Rodney.
And the 0-2. Outside, 1-2 the count. Escobar waiting on deck. Scherzer has another strikeout lined up. Instead, it's pulled right to the first baseman. Cabrera wins the race to the bag. 1 gone.
Pick it, Miggy.
Oh, it was hit hard.
And Miggy with a nice crossover to his left. Grabs it on 1 hop, and he's able to beat Escobar to the bag.
One away for Eduardo Escobar, who flied out back in the 3rd. Escobar's playing third base tonight. Trevor Plouffe, their third baseman, is injured. He's out for the rest of the year, which is basically this weekend. He suffered a fractured forearm in a tag play at third base.
He had good numbers this year against Tigers pitching, too, did Trevor Plouffe.
Into shallow left field for JD. 2 gone. Well, tomorrow night the Tigers play the Minnesota Twins at 7:08, and the first 10,000 fans receive a 2015 Detroit Tigers magnet schedule. Call 866-66-TIGER or visit tigers.com for ticket info.
My bad. I had Escobar grounding out to Miguel Cabrera, but that was Hicks that grounded out to Miggy.
Well, look who's warming up.
And a ball. You got to give him a lot of time.
Sanchez loosening in the Detroit bullpen, pitching out of the pen these days. 0-1. Pitch count is up for Max at 86 right now.
It might be the perfect game to get Sanchez some action. He hasn't pitched in quite some time.
There's a wave and a miss. The simulated game he threw on Sunday in Kansas City is just not near a regular game situation.
No, it's not.
And even though you're facing big league hitters, when you're simulating as close as you can, it's just not the same.
That was your own hitters as well.
Yeah. Now the 0-2. Back up the middle, and boy, Santana with a hit. After striking out twice, he gets Scherzer on an 0-2 pitch.
Anibal Sanchez last pitch in a game, August 8th in Toronto.
Well, he could be quite a weapon in the postseason, which really speaks to the Tigers' depth in the rotation this year.
Yeah, he really has not pitched out of the bullpen much in his big league career. So whenever Brad Ausmus decides to get him up, he's going to have to make sure he gives him plenty of time to get loose, to get hot, to come in a game. And it looks like he's giving him that opportunity here tonight. And with the pitch count of Max already at 89.
Strike 1 on Brian Dozier. Dozier a pop up and a walk. Santana 19 steals this year. Hasn't been caught very many times either, only 4 times. Scherzer, I think this season has not only done a really good time or a really good job of varying his times in terms of how long he holds the ball, but also there are times when he'll just lob the ball to first. There are times when he'll just let it go. It really is hard to gauge him. There's a soft line drive to right, base hit. Santana's on his way to third. He is in there standing up, and back-to-back singles now for the Twins.
That is something that Brian Dozier does not do a lot of. He does not get lots of base hits to right field. He is a dead pull hitter. A real nice swing on this 93-mile-per-hour fastball that got a little bit too much plate. Joe Mauer did not swing at the first pitch his first time up. He did, however, his second time up, but the result has not been good so far tonight for Joe. Max punched him out twice.
Mauer shoots one toward left center field. That ball's going to get down. This will get 2 runs in. Santana scores. Dozier scores. Mauer goes into second base with a double, and the Twins now have made it a 1-run game. Two-run, 2-base hit for Joe Mauer.
All the damage done here in the 5th inning against Max with 2 outs. It's a changeup at the bottom of the zone, and Joe Mauer, first pitch swinging. And J.D. Martinez gets over there. He does not pick it up right away, and therefore Brian Dozier, with his speed running from first base, able to come home after. And Rajay picks it up. There's Dozier crossing home plate.
So the Twins now put the tying run in scoring position for Kenny Vargas. Strikeout and a walk in this game for Vargas. Way inside, 1-0.
That's one thing about Joe Mauer, Mario. You might get him first couple of times up, but during the course of the game, he's going to barrel up some.
Yeah, he hadn't won that many batting titles, or 3 batting titles, for no reason.
His year overall this year from an offensive standpoint is not really that good, but you look at his overall body of work against Tigers pitching. He's been really good in his career.
Pulled, foul outside of the bag at first. That would have tied the game. Sharply hit ball.
Miggy doing a little umpiring.
Yeah. Just helping out Lance Barrett down there, just in case. Here's the 2-1. Outside now, 3-1 on Vargas. Well, this all started with a 2-out single by Danny Santana. Dozier followed with a hit, and then the double by Mauer. Brad Ausmus on the telephone. Fouled away. Brad was asked before the ballgame today about, qualifying for the playoffs now. The Tigers are in. Just a matter of whether or not they win the division. And, really the whole feel of this team, Rod, is that they haven't done it yet. They need to win this division. So there really hadn't been a whole lot of celebrating.
Right.
And they've kind of taken it in stride here. Three and 2. Just outside. It's another walk for Max. And that'll be his 4th of the game.
It's a season high 4 base on balls in a game for Max. He's done it 4 other times. Actually, he had Yeah, 4 other times this year. And what's Xfinity telling us about the top fastball Max has thrown here tonight? 96. Top 4-seam fastball. 77. That would be one of his curveballs. It's a nice visit there by Jeff Jones, the pitching coach. Max, after he got 2 out, has thrown quite a few pitches just to give him a breather.
So Sanchez no longer throwing. Lane Hardy, Jim Johnson warming up.
Well, it's almost like Brad doesn't want to put Sanchez in a 1-run game.
Right.
He had him up when the Tigers had a 3-run lead, but now he doesn't want to put Sanchez in that situation because he hasn't pitched since August 8th.
Arcia the batter. Well, how quickly this inning has taken a U-turn. There were 2 out, nobody on in this inning. Single, double, walk. Arcia had the Twins' first hit of the night. It doubled back in the 4th inning. Max with the 1-0. 2-0. So Scherzer will hit the century mark here in the 5th. There's a strike on the outer edge. 2-1 on Arcia.
That's a well-located fastball. Arcia sitting on a fastball, but he could do nothing with that last one at 94 because of the location. He had a nice at-bat his last time up, taking a double the other way. Didn't overswing.
He was 1 for 13 before that 2-base hit. Trying to get things evened up for Trevor May. Sounded like a broken bat. Shallow right field. Torrey coming on to make the catch. That'll end the inning. They get 2 on the double by Mauer. It's a 1-run game now. Tigers baseball presented by Bell Tire.
Actually excited that we're in the we birthed the playoff spot, but like I said, our main goal is to win a division. We still have our sights on that, and we're excited that we're in the playoff berth, and everybody should be excited. But trust me, it's a bigger goal in play.
And that bigger goal, obviously, is to win the division. And if they do, Rod, it certainly would make their path in the playoffs a lot easier than winning the wild card.
Well, there's been a lot of pressure on the team from the word get-go this season when many experts picked the Tigers under their new manager, Brad Ausmus, to win the World Series. That's just how talented they are. So that's exactly what Torrey Hunter's talking about. Yes, they're in. They're pleased that they're in. But they're trying to win a world championship.
Here is Avila to start things off here in the bottom of the fifth. It's Avila, Suarez, Davis facing the right-hander Trevor May. Tigers lead cut to 1 now, 3-2. Alex looks at ball 1. Avila struck out back in the second. The Twins now have actually out-hit the Tigers 4-3. Wave and a miss, 1-1.
Ooh, nice change piece there thrown by May, who has gone to the changeup the last couple of innings. Not as many breaking balls, more changeups to the left-handers and the right-handers, and it's a really good pitch for him. Straight change, just enough to disrupt the balance of the hitter. Ooh.
1-2.
The key to the changeup, though, I mean, you throw it just like your fastball, but because you grip it in the palm of your hand, you still throw it the same way. And the velocity decreases about 10 miles per hour, at least on a good changeup. And that's the kind of mile per hour differential that you need. He's going to go 3 in a row.
And it worked. Struck him out swinging, 1 gone.
Well, you have to give Suzuki some credit. Trevor May has been beaten with a breaking ball here today. Home run by Victor, home run by Miguel. But the last few batters he's gone up against has been that straight changeup.
There'll be 6 strikeouts now for Trevor May. Here is Eugenio Suarez. Twins are hoping that May can be a pretty good member of their rotation for years to come. They thought he'd have made a breakthrough a couple of starts ago. And then it's popped up. It's being foul ground and caught by Mauer. 2 gone.
Wow, really efficient inning so far for May after his team has gotten him on the board with 2 runs.
Well, this is what they hoped that he would bring. He had a really good start 2 starts ago with 10 strikeouts against the White Sox. They figured, okay, there's his breakout start this year. Now he's going to roll, but then he got rolled in his last start. He gave up 7 runs against the Indians. So it's been on and off. But as you pointed out earlier, I mean, physically the stuff appears to be there.
Yeah, firm fastball in the mid-90s. Second best pitch is a changeup, followed by the curve, then the slider.
Rajay bunts. Oh, this is going to be a good one. Forget about it. Put that one in your back pocket.
You cannot lay down a better bunt than Rajay did right there. And the key to Rajay getting this bunt where he wanted it is that he stayed in the batter's box until he made contact with the baseball. He made sure he got it to an area where no one could really defend it. And with his speed, he was going to be safe. Take a look at the bat. The bat is out in front of home plate. He's in the batter's box. He's not moving. There's great concentration. Then all of a sudden he gets it down and he takes off.
Hitting coaches always talk about the importance of getting that bat out in front of home plate, right?
Yeah, because if you have the bat behind the plate when you're attempting to bunt, whether it be a sacrifice or bunting for a base hit, more than likely you're going to bunt that ball foul. Bat out in front of home plate, you catch the baseball just like you're catching with your glove.
So now Davis becomes a threat to run. 35 steals this year for Rajay.
And Rajay always puts a lot of pressure on the pitcher and the catcher and the manager when he's on first base. Everybody in the ballpark knows at some point in time he's going to steal. But the one thing about May, he's pretty quick at getting that ball to Suzuki.
And now Suzuki will make a trip out to the mound. Well, it was a very snappy inning. A couple of quick outs, but then a bunt single by Davis, and he has caused some problems now for the Twins. Well, this is one aspect, I think, going forward around the postseason that really is going to help the Tigers, the speed of Davis.
And it's something the Tigers really have not had the last few times they've gone to postseason play. They haven't had that legitimate threat on first base like a Rajai Davis to steal a bag in a close game.
He bluffed that time, ball high.
And we see this time and time again with Ian Kinsler in the batter's box. That pitcher is preoccupied with Rajai Davis, and rightfully so. If they fall behind Ian Kinsler, now Ian has himself in a predictable fastball count.
Albuquerque in the Detroit bullpen. Runner goes. Boy, the throw bouncing in, no shot. Davis another swipe.
Rajai didn't even have a good jump. It looked like he slipped, but he didn't stop. He just continued to run, and a poor throw by their catcher, Kurt Suzuki. He might just swipe third base too.
Threw a worm burner down there.
Nearly hit the pitcher, Trevor May.
Now the 2-0. 3-0 on Kinsler. .36 on the year now for Rajai, and it's amazing what speed can do to many different aspects of the game. And all of a sudden, May's behind Kinsler, the next hitter. And he fires a strike, 3-1. Hunter waiting on deck. May came in at 3-5 with an ERA 8.39, making his 9th start of the season. Drilled to center field. Hicks is there. He hit it hard, but straight at him. No runs and a hit. Man stranded. 5 in the books.
Trevor May. It was Victor Martinez with 2 outs and 2 strikes. 2-run home run to right field. Miguel Cabrera, he extended the lead in the 4th inning. He got a hanging breaking ball from May and hit it over the Tigers bullpen, but they got on the board in the 5th. It was Joe Mauer swinging at a changeup that was down and in for Max, and he drove in Dozier and also Santana. That ball, that changeup, was down and in to Joe Mauer. He took his hands and pulled them close to his body and hit the ball the opposite way.
So it'll be Scherzer back on the hill now in a 3-2 ball game. Tigers up by a run. We travel to the 6th inning, and it's ball 1.
Max has averaged 110 pitches per start this year, which is topped in the American League. No doubt he'll get there again tonight. Only 2 starts this season, and Max didn't reach the century mark.
That's in there. 1 ball, 1 strike on Suzuki.
Through 93 one night, 98 the other time he didn't reach 100.
Now the 1-1. Outside, 2 balls, 1 strike. Herman and then Hicks as we play here in the 6th. Drill to left field. That'll drop. Base hit. Suzuki has a leadoff single. Time for a game break now. We go to the studio. Here's Trevor Thompson. All right, Trev, thanks. Well, that's good news. The White Sox have the lead now over KC. The Tigers' magic number coming in was 3.
Yeah, Herman with no sack bunch this year, if you're thinking along those lines.
Looks like he isn't. Swing and a miss. Herman a couple of strikeouts against Max.
Twins have been tough on Tigers pitching this year. In the 15 meetings this season, they've averaged 5 runs a game. Clearly, they played their best baseball against Tigers.
I mentioned the Tigers have won the season series against every team in the Central. The exception so far, the Twins. They may end up beating the Twins in the season series this year, but it's been a struggle so far.
Yeah, Ron Gardenhire said a few weeks ago that they don't look at themselves as a spoiler, but they just want to irritate some people. And boy, if they've been irritating the Tigers.
Gardy's got the winter beard going already.
He does. Last 4 seasons have been long seasons for Gardenhire.
Here's the 0-2.
There was about a 6, 7, 8-year stretch where they were the class of the division under Gardenhire. 2nd longest tenured manager in the big leagues after Mike Socia.
Yeah, they won 6 Central Division titles.
And he only won the Manager of the Year award once.
Again, the 0-2. Just missed 1-2.
Well, Max knows this is his last inning, and so he's not going to leave anything out there between the lines. 95 with that last fastball, 109 pitches in.
In the glove for strike 3. Scherzer another strikeout. It'll be 9 now for Max. Hey, it's time for Red Wings hockey. For your chance to win a Red Wings 10-game plan this season, make sure you enter at foxsportsdetroit.com. Get in on the action. The Red Wings are back. Not a whole lot better than free tickets. 1-on-1 out. Here's Aaron Hicks.
And Max already with 7 double-digit strikeout games this year. And 1 more will give him 8.
Couple of ground outs for Hicks. So Hardy is up again, the lefty, joining Albuquerque, the righty.
Albuquerque's thrown more than 70 games this year. Been in more than 70 games.
Strike call. Hicks this year a September call-up after spending most of the season in the minor leagues, AA and AAA. Hit a combined .291 in the minors.
They would love for Hicks to finish strong and go into spring training and take over that center fielder's job.
0-2.
He is a superb defender with great range and a really good throwing arm. He just hasn't hit enough.
I read a story on Hicks. Apparently that throwing arm was so good in high school that the Oakland A's, the year he was drafted, 2008, wanted to select him as a pitcher. But he didn't want to pitch in professional baseball, but he threw mid-90s. So he's taken that terrific arm to the outfield. Now Max with the 0-2. A little high, 1-2.
You know, Max told me a few starts ago when he went up against the Minnesota Twins, they grind out at bats better against him than any team he's gone up against this year. They've got him up to 113 pitches. I know he's punched out a few, but they pretty much accomplished what they wanted to accomplish going in, and that was to get Max out of the game after 6 innings and to get into that Tigers bullpen with the game still close.
Here's the 1-2. High fly ball, shallow center field. Who's going to get there? It's going to be Suarez.
Nice communication between Kinsman and Suarez. Rajay Davis wasn't going to get there. This is what you're taught to do as a middle infielder when the ball's hit into the shallow part of the outfield. You go as hard as you can until you hear the outfielder call you off. And if he doesn't call you off, then you have to make the decision between you and the second baseman as to who's going to make that play. He nearly missed it.
Here is Escobar with 2 outs. A couple of fly balls to left. Scherzer, strike 1. So Max trying to give his team 6 innings with the lead. He needs 1 more out. Golfed toward left center field. Shallow, and JD gets there. After the single, Scherzer gets 3 in a row. And he'll earn himself a nice round of applause as he walks up. Brought to you by Arby's. We have the meats. And by Bell Tire, get the lowest tire price, period. Bell Tire. 3-2, Tigers have the lead. We go to the bottom of the 6th inning here at the ballpark tonight. Tigers trying to chop into that magic number, down to 3 to win the division. And Max Scherzer appears to be done for the night after 116 pitches tonight.
And sitting next to Rick Porcello. Porcello will get the ball tomorrow night for the Tigers.
9 strikeouts in the game for Max. That, along with his 4 walks, drove his pitch count up. So it'll be the bullpen the rest of the way. Torrey Hunter leads it off. Tigers trying to rebuild their lead. And it's nubbed off the end of the bat, foul. Torrey has a double and a strikeout in this game, 1 for 2. He scored ahead of the 2-run shot by Victor Martinez in the first inning. Swing and a miss. Another fastball that time from May, and the count goes 0-2. Bouncing ball, second base side, Dozier. Torrey's out by a step.
Well, here's some good news. When Miguel Cabrera and Victor Martinez homer in the same game, the Tigers' record is 6-2. They still have some work to do here tonight from an offensive standpoint, but that's a good sign.
Did you look that up yourself?
No, I had them do a little work in the truck.
Well, let's see what Miggy can do here with 1 out in the 6th. Cabrera's home run was his 24th. To go with his 51 doubles, which is a career high for Miguel. They'll foul that one back out of play 0-2.
Tigers have a couple of players in the MVP conversation. Mickey's not going to win it, and I don't think Victor's going to win it either. He probably will finish second to Mike Trout. But both guys have had superb seasons. Mickey's home run numbers are down, but all his other numbers are really, really good, which puts him in the conversation.
The 0-2 is a little high. 1-2 now on Cabrera.
Victor has been gaining some steam in the month of September on Mike Trout. Trout with a lot of homers. He scored a lot of runs, but Mike has struck out a lot this year. But the Angels are a really good team.
Soria tuning up with the Detroit bullpen. Two and 2 the count. Funny you mention that, because I was looking at the league leaders today. The 2-2 comes home. 3-2.
You're going to throw Miggy that changeup.
Trout is leading the league in runs scored, but really you can't find him aside from home runs. He's about middle of the pack. Leading in RBIs, but not an average. Well, he's up there in total bases. He's going to win it. Here's the 3-2. Drill to left field. Urban will haul it in. 2 outs. Here's Victor Martinez. Victor in that series against the White Sox had only 2 hits, but he was also walked 4 times and was hit by a pitch twice.
Yeah, and they thought he was getting signs from somebody in center field. He only got 2 hits in the series. Go figure.
We'll step away from that one, 1-0.
And Victor took one of those slow breaking balls earlier in this game, back in the first inning for May, and hit it out to right field.
Shot toward left field, slicing away from Herman. Not going to get there. Fair ball. It'll go to the corner. Extras again for Victor Martinez.
Herman may have played that into a double for Victor. Victor, not the fleetest of foot, but that ball slicing away from Herman, and he didn't take a great angle to get there. He took an angle of one where he went straight across to try to get to that ball and then wanted to hit the grass because it had that slicing action on it. It just kind of sliced away from him, and Victor able to get to second with a stand-up double.
So now the Tigers have a 2-out scoring threat. See if JD can join the party tonight. He's 0 for 2. That was up the letters at 93. 0-1 on Martinez. Brief little chat on the mound. Each ball club with 5 hits now. The big difference in this game, the Twins have left 7 men on base. Tigers only 1. Scherzer has done most of the good work tonight for Detroit. Here's the 0-1. Ball high, 1 ball, 1 strike.
Well, they threw that first pitch fastball upstairs, and JD couldn't hold up on it, so they went right back up there again, and to see if Martinez would swing at the second one. The last couple of innings, May's thrown a lot of changeups to the right-handed hitters.
Two and 1. So May now has hit 80.
Pitch count's in great shape.
53 strikes. Martinez a ground ball and a fly ball. Way high again, 3-1.
Minnesota Twins defensively have opened up the right side of their infield. Mauer and the first baseman, he's over the only one on that side. There's Dozier, he's right behind Victor Martinez.
Well, they don't want to mess with JD after falling behind 3-1. They'll put him on, and that'll put runners at first and second. They'll bring up Castellanos, but not before Rick Anderson goes out to the mound. Look at the middle of the Tigers lineup in terms of OPS leaders here in September.
Contact to damage ratio simply off the chain for those 3.
Boy, has the middle just been absolutely fabulous for the Tigers here down the stretch.
Yeah, Rick Anderson, he's been with Ron Gardenhire for the last 13 years as his chief lieutenant, out there to give the scouting report to May once again on Castellanos.
So a chance now with 2 outs for the Tigers to build on their lead.
That's a nice run for a pitching coach in the big leagues, man. 13 years.
A really good run. It's 0-1 on Nick. Castellanos fly out, strikeout.
And Dave Clark wants to make sure that Victor Martinez gets a good secondary lead. It's going to be a challenge for him to score Victor on a base hit.
Strike call. Quickly now, Castellanos behind 0-2. Tigers have used the long ball so far tonight. 2-run shot in the first by Martinez. Cabrera homer in the 4th.
That was barely a strike,
if it was at all. The 0-2. Outside, says Ron Culpa. Now the 1-2. It'll bounce in. 2 balls, 2 strikes. It'll be Avila's turn next. He's on deck.
Well, if you're Kurt Suzuki, the catcher, you want contact right here out of Castellanos. You don't want the count to go to 3-2, which would allow the runners to get a head start.
Drilled foul. Two it stays on Castellanos. Ryan Presley warming up rather quickly in their bullpen. And again, the 2-2. Nick able to fight that one off.
And Castellanos in that emergency stance. His 2-strike approach where he spreads out. And he doesn't lift up the left foot. Just simply lifts the heel off the ground and puts it right back down. To make sure he's got really nice recognition of the next pitch thrown by Trevor May. What you try to accomplish with the 2-strike approach is you try not to leave the strike zone and swing at something that's a ball. Here's Castellanos. You see that front foot. Heel comes up, then right back down. Then you've got the weight transfer. And he fouls that ball off down toward the third baseline.
Low, fill it now 3-2, and so the runners will be on the move here.
This really helps out the Tigers, and it also helps out the third base coach, Dave Clark.
Martinez, Victor, that is at second, JD at first. And Castellanos digs in for a 3-2 pitch. Bouncing ball foul, third base side. Pretty good battle going on here. Nine pitch at bats so far. And again the 3-2. Swing and a miss, struck him out. Chased the high fastball, down he goes. Tigers strand a pair, and we've got 6 in the books here at Comerica Park. Tigers 3, Twins 2.
Earlier today, just a couple blocks from here, there was a great event for the groundbreaking of the Red Wings' new arena and the district around it. Not sure if you saw the drawings, but it looks absolutely incredible. The district will have 45 blocks of retail, offices, and residential housing. Chris Ilitch, the CEO of Ilitch Holdings, was on hand, as were numerous luminaries. The project expected to be done by 2017. Mario and Rod, when this thing is all done, how great is this area going to be?
Oh, J-Dub, it's going to be absolutely spectacular. And Rod, we had a chance a couple of weeks ago to watch a presentation that Chris Ilitch gave, and well, I tell you what, we both came away extremely impressed with how this is going to remake downtown Detroit.
Yeah, Chris is really excited about what they're doing down here. I mean, there's going to be restaurants. Obviously, there's a new arena going in as well. There are going to be condominiums. There's going to be apartments. They're going to light up Woodward Avenue with lots of trees. They're going to widen the road. I mean, it's going to be nice down here.
It's going to be cool. And, of course, a lot of the infrastructure will be repaired as well, which is also very key. So a couple of years from now, downtown, boy, it's really going to be hopping.
You better get you some property now.
Yeah, absolutely. Soria is the new pitcher as he faces the top of the lineup now, Santana.
And Soria has looked really good since coming off the disabled list with that oblique strain. Fastball anywhere from 90 to 93 with some good movement. Nice breaking balls. Some slower breaking balls as well with a changeup.
Bouncing ball back up the middle. Another backhanded play by Ian. Pulled him off the bag, but a tag is made by Miguel.
It's a nice job by Miggy coming off the bag. Kinsler had to hurry up with his throw with the speed of Santana running down the line.
Number 2 hitter now, Brian Dozier. His base hit kept the rally going in the 5th. It was eventually doubled in by Joe Mauer. That made it a 3-2 ball game, and that's where we stand. Scherzer going the first 6, handing it off to Joakim Soria here in the 7th. Soria came in allowing just 1 earned run in his last 8 1/3 innings. Ball high, 1 ball, 1 strike. Soria really has not been able to contribute much because of the oblique strain that he suffered back in August. But once he came back on September 10th, it really gave the Tigers another proven arm at the back end of their pen.
He's getting strong at the right time. The Tigers closing in on winning another division. And his role in the postseason will be vital for the Tigers. He can do a lot of different things for you in that bullpen, as they've given him the ball here today in the 7th. I mean, you could do it in the 8th. You could do it in the 9th. He's a nice insurance policy out there.
Joe Mauer waiting on deck. 3-2. Tigers have the lead in the 7th. The count stays on Dozier.
Here's where the Minnesota Twins have really thrived this year, outscoring their opponents by plus 38 runs, 7th inning or later.
Fly ball right field, hit well. Going to be room though. Torrey goes to the track. 2 gone.
Max got Joe Mauer a couple times today. 90-mile-per-hour cut fastball. It appeared to be the first time up. He struck him out with that pitch. And then he got him his next time up. He got him with a nice little tailing fastball. It was in the mid-90s. And then he missed with his target. Avila wanted this changeup away. Avila had to reach back inside. Joe Mauer, first pitch swinging, drove in 2 the last time he was up. Santana and Dozier. Mauer also had a couple of RBIs against Max the last time these two met a couple of weeks ago when the Tigers were in the Twin Cities.
Well, I know his numbers are down this year, but I think when you look at it in this lineup, if you've got to face a guy with a couple of runners on late in the ball game, this might be one of the last guys in their lineup you want to see. Even though he came in batting just a pedestrian .276 for Joe Mauer, that is. Here's the 0-1. Ground ball first base side. That's a foul ball. 0-2 on Mauer. Picked up hit number 1,500 back in the month of August. They had pretty good numbers against Soria.
Yikes.
Ooh. The 0-2. Ooh, Avila left his feet. 1-2 the count. Up and outside, 2 balls, 2 strikes on Joe Mauer. Should he reach? Kenny Vargas on deck. Now the 2-2. The hook missing outside.
There's that slow Ephus pitch. Soria used to throw that pitch quite often when he was closing games for the Kansas City Royals at about 68, 69 miles an hour. But the uncanny ability to throw that for a strike. Must have slipped or something here.
It looked like it a little bit. That's why that ball flailed outside. Three-two. Bouncing ball left side. Cut off by Castellanos. And Soria has a 1-2-3-7. We'll go to the bottom of the 7th inning. 3-2. And photo of the game. Tweet your photo to hashtag Detroit Fan Photo for a chance to have it shown in an upcoming game broadcast. It is brought to you by AT&T, and here is tonight's Detroit Fan Photo. Fans on their feet right now for the stretch as we go to the bottom of the 7th. We have a new pitcher. That'll be Ryan Presley in the wall side windows pitching change.
Good numbers for Presley this year. .239 as far as the ERA is concerned. 14 strikeouts against 8 walks in 23 prior games to tonight for Ryan.
And he's about to face the bottom three in the Tigers lineup. It'll be Avila, Suarez, and Davis. A couple of strikeouts tonight for Alex. Swings to the first and lines into the left, base hit. The one waiting around this time, that's a leadoff single. There's the Tigers box score tonight. Cabrera and Victor Martinez with home runs. Eugenio Suarez now. Presumably up there to bunt. And he lays it down. Presley thought about second. He almost threw it to second base.
Well, with Avila running, if you're the pitcher and you get the ball in a timely manner, you're always going to look towards second base. And that's a nice job by Suarez, who was given a sac bunt, I believe it was yesterday, in the same, well, 2 days ago, same situation. Avila didn't make it to second base. It was a poor bunt by Suarez, but this was a better bunt. His 5th sacrifice bunt of the year.
Let's see now if the Tigers can get the run in. Perfect execution.
Tigers have been doing a lot of that the last couple of days. They had a successful squeeze play yesterday. Brian Holiday was successful with a sac bunt yesterday.
Rajai Davis had a bunt hit back in the 5th inning. 3-0-1 this year with men in scoring position. Down the right field line. Fair ball. Avila will score. Rajai thinking 3, but he's going to hold up with a double.
Easy, Rajai.
2-base hit and an RBI. Four to 2 Tigers.
Sacrifice bunt by Suarez gets Avila into scoring position. 4-seam fastball thrown on the outside black to Rajai Davis. He slices it down the right field line. It's always fun to watch Rajai run once he makes contact on an extra base hit.
'51st RBI of the year for Rajai Davis. His 27th double as well. 4-2 Tigers lead. There he goes. They'll throw to third, and the tag is waiting for him.
Oops. A nice spin move there by Presley. And knowing that Rajai Davis, many times when the crowd gets excited and he's standing on second base, he's going to try to force the issue by trying to steal third. And just a simple spin move by Presley, and was able to catch him.
2 gone now. But a big run in for the Tigers. They lead 4-2. It'll slide in for a strike, 0-1. Kinsler is 0 for 3 as Michael Tonkin is warming up. Oh, 2. Trevor May goes 6. Presley comes on here in the 7th. Pulled to third, knocked down by Escobar. Can't find it.
Escobar really has not played a lot of third base this year. Trevor Plouffe has been their everyday third baseman. He's now on the disabled list. He mishandles it. He looks for it. He reaches down to pick it up. Can't pick it up the first time. And when he reaches down to try to pick it up and he can't pick it up, it's too late right now.
E5. Literally on number 5.
And 7 pitches thrown by Presley. 7 strikes.
It keeps the inning going for Torrey. Hunter had a double in the first, scored a run. Swing and a miss. It was Avila that got this started in the first pitch of the inning. He lined one to left for a base hit. The sacrifice moved him up, and the double scored him. Now Presley will step off. Tigers have 4 runs, 7 hits. Ooh, that was close.
It was a very quick move by Presley.
Quick tag as well by Mauer.
Kinsler has 15 steals, 19 attempts. It's a nice job of Mauer letting that ball travel all the way to the bag. So all he has to do is catch it and then drop the glove on the hand of Kinsler. Mauer, pretty good first baseman for a guy that's been a catcher all his life.
Here's the 1-1. Low, 2-1. Kinsler 15 steals, been caught 4 times this year.
And Torrey Hunter can still turn on a good fastball. Presley has a nice 2-seam fastball.
Ooh, that was close again. And now Suzuki out to the mound.
Ian really wasn't that far off the bag that time.
Ron Gardenhire out now.
And Gardenhire sent Suzuki out to the mound before that last pitch to challenge whether Kinsler was out, and getting a look at that last look that we had, it was really close.
So we'll get a challenge. Here's Country Joe. He's going to put the headsets on. Now, Country Joe's either in touch with the folks in New York or listening to his latest country CD.
He dropped another one?
No, I just made that up. I think he got back in there.
Ooh, it's close.
Yeah, it was close.
Take a look at this other look, though. This one right here.
Wow.
That's the one they're looking at.
Yeah, I don't know how you can tell. I suppose close enough to take a shot if you're Ron Gardenhire. Hard to tell. I'm not sure I'd be surprised if they called it either way. You see, Kinsler was leaning just a little bit towards second.
And he really didn't have his maximum lead. That's not really that big a lead. Looked like his right foot slipped underneath him, and that left foot also kind of slipped underneath him as well, which didn't allow him to really push off to get back to the bag and made it a close play. With Country Joe West in his 36th year as a major league umpire. What a life. All the traveling, all the big league players he's been able to watch, all the games he's called.
Well, he apparently has a decision now from New York. Safe. Okie doke. Meanwhile, the count is 2 balls, 1 strike on Torrey Hunter.
And Torrey's still sitting on that fastball.
Got a breaking ball instead, fouled it back.
He sure did. Kind of jammed himself there on that breaking ball.
Bouncing ball to third. Escobar flags this one down. They'll get the force at second base. So no more damage comes out of the air. Rajai Davis. Big RBI double. Using his legs to help the Tigers out here in the 7th inning. Look at Rajai run.
Low flying.
Summary with the Tigers up here 4-2. Victor Martinez, his 14th 2-strike homer of the year. 14 of them. Meanwhile, Miguel Cabrera is also homered. Yeah, pretty good night tonight for Max.
9 strikeouts for Max. He did walk 4, and that drove the pitch count up to 116. He had to leave after 6 innings. Really nice 7th inning turned in by Joakim Soria.
It was a 1-2-3 7th inning, which brings us to Jabba Chamberlain in the 8th inning.
And Jabba Chamberlain pitching in the 68th game this year. 27 holds for Chamberlain. A 1.32 whip, 58 strikeouts. Most of those strikeouts have come on his off-speed pitches, and whether it be his breaking ball, the slider, or the curve.
Romine takes over now defensively at short. Kenny Vargas leads it off. It'll be Vargas, Arcia, Suzuki facing Chamberlain. We're in the 8th inning of a 4-2 ball game. Tigers have the lead in this one. A little bit outside. 1 ball, no strikes. Low. 2-0.
If you're Kenny Vargas, you can pretty much sit on the breaking ball for the next couple of pitches, and you're guaranteed to get one from Jabba. He's got a good fastball, but his pitch of choice usually is something off speed.
Fastball up. 2-1. Update now. It looks like the Royals have gotten a run back. 3-2 Chicago in the 5th inning. Jabba doubts the outside corner with a fastball.
It's a nice job by Jabba Chamberlain. And Vargas up there looking for something soft. Took that 2-1 fastball for strike 2.
Here's the 2-2. Missed it outside. 3-2. Here's the full count pitch. Breaking ball popped up. Cabrera, Kinsler. Kinsler, 1 out. Fans, tickets for potential American League Division Series games are on sale right now. Guaranteed tickets for all potential Tigers postseason games by simply placing a 2015 season ticket deposit. Visit Tigers.com for more details. Here's Oswaldo Arcia. The shift is on for Arcia. And he looks at a strike. 0-1. Here's how they play him defensively.
And Castellanos in shallow right field. Romine stays put at the shortstop position. Kinsler, Miggy on the right side of the infield with Castellanos.
0-2.
Good breaking ball there by Jabba. Took a little something off that one. About twisted Arcia into the ground. There's that slider grip.
Oh, 2. The count stays 96 that time from Jabba.
That's a nice spoil there by Arcia. Boy, I'd love to see Jabba start to use that fastball a little bit more down the stretch out of that bullpen. 96. I mean, that's a good fastball.
Yeah. It is certainly above average.
Ooh,
man, that one just got away.
He really rushed his delivery there. He never really gathered himself, never really got to a balanced position with that front leg. Therefore, the arm never caught up.
What do you got on Jabba's shoes? Pretty colorful.
They are.
More orange than most of the Tigers are wearing.
Kind of got some high tops going, too.
The 1-2. Fouled off. See, when you're in the big leagues, man, you can get shoes like this.
Then they got some on the road that match. Got your number on them. They make you look good.
Avila, he's got the more modest cleats. Conventional, I guess would be a good word.
Jabba's got his road shoes on.
He does. Pulled foul.
But maybe they're his lucky shoes.
Suzuki waiting on deck. 4-2. Tigers have a lead. We're in the 8th.
Jabba he probably can't wait till the season's over so he can shave that beard.
You sure he wants to?
Oh, absolutely.
Swing and a miss. Arcia is out. First strikeout for Jabba. Hopefully he's going to have to wait another month.
That'd be nice.
Here's Kurt Suzuki. Single walk ground out tonight for Suzuki. Only 5 hits allowed by Tigers pitching tonight. Scherzer, Soria, and now Jabba Chamberlain.
Tigers bullpen is in outstanding shape here this evening because of the effort turned in the last couple of days by David Price and Justin Verlander. Verlander pitched 8 innings. Price pitched more than 8 innings, 8+.
Bouncing ball to third. Castellanos on the money with the throw, and it's a 1-2-3 inning for Jabba Chamberlain. On our way to the bottom of the 8th. It's been a spectacular month, a fall frenzy, if you will, for the Tigers. 3, 4, and 5 hitters. And Rod, I dare you, find me 3 better this month.
There is no 3 better hitters than the 3 that we're showing you right now. The OPS for Miggy and also Victor over 1,100. And JD Martinez is knocking on the door as far as the OPS is concerned.
There is a new pitcher now for the Minnesota Twins. That would be Michael Tonkin, the tall righty.
And Tonkin's got a big arm. His fastball will get all the way up to 97 miles an hour. Average fastball about 94. Second best pitch is a slider. He also has a changeup, but he does not throw many changeups, and very seldom will he throw the changeup to the right-handed batter. Mostly fastballs and sliders to the righties.
Well, here's a pretty good right-handed batter, Miguel Cabrera.
He's one of the best. Well, he's the game's best right-handed hitter.
No argument here. 312 this year for Miggy now. His home run came back in the 4th inning.
And Tonkin kind of slings the ball up there in the mid-90s. Throws across his body.
6'7", 220. Slings home another and misses high. 1-1. Action in the Detroit bullpen. The closer, Joe Nathan, heating up. Way outside. 2-1 the count. 4 runs, 7 hits tonight for the Tigers. 2 runs, 5 hits for Minnesota.
And we'll see how much confidence Tonkin has in his fastball here, whether he throws it to Miggy in a fastball count.
think that one's straight up to center field, playable though. Very shallow as Hicks comes in. One out. Here's Victor Martinez. Another big night for Victor. A double to go with his homer. A 2-run shot that came back in the first. His on-base percentage in the month of September is .478. Well, it was .478 coming in. On base 2 more times tonight.
That's getting on base every 2 times he goes up.
Oh, Victor. Look at this.
Victor.
A little bit of a hole to the left side of the infield, and Martinez found it.
Home run, double, single for Victor Martinez is making a charge to win the MVP in the American League. Yeah, they did shift that time with Victor. Santana was up the middle. Dozier, their second baseman, was in the outfield, and Victor just slapped one the other way. And like Joe Mauer has done so much in his career.
That's what Joe's saying right now.
I used to do it like that.
Here's JD. It was Martinez that had a 3-hit game yesterday. JD, that is.
Already 17 RBIs for JD Martinez in the month of September. And most of his damage has been done 7th inning or later.
High, towering fly ball, right field. Hit well, but it's going to stay in the yard. Arcia hauls it in. Two gone.
And JD knew he didn't get it.
Castellanos now. Nick swings and misses 0-1.
A lot of breaking balls thrown to Castellanos on the first pitches tonight. He lined out his first time up on a fastball against Trevor May. And then after that, a steady diet of breaking balls thrown to Castellanos.
It'll get away from Suzuki. Advance the runner. Tonkin fired that one in the dirt.
Suzuki moving like he jumped up and bit him somewhere.
Wild pitch.
Right off the left wrist.
One ball, 2 strikes.
Let's take a look at Castellanos, who well documented the fact that once he gets 2 strikes on him, he goes into his emergency stance. The one on the left, he's going to take a stride, and that's what he's looking to do damage. But the one on the right, and that's one after he's gotten 2 strikes, he spreads out and just simply tries to put the ball in play. A game of pepper.
Swing and a miss. So Tonkin fights through the trouble here in the 8th inning. We're headed to the 9th, and the Tigers hold on to a 2-run lead. Can turn it around. Right now it's 4-2. Tigers have the lead here as we go to the ninth inning. Joe Nathan will check in now for the Tiger.
And Joe Nathan looking to record his 34th save of the season. The ERA checks in at 4.98. And Joe in his last 11 home games, he's been very good. The ERA at 1.74, but the fans here rough on Joe.
Eduardo Nunez is going to be the pinch hitter. Don Kelly has checked in to play third base. And Joe Nathan now protecting a 2-run lead as we go to the ninth.
A real nice seventh inning by Joakim Soria. Java Chamberlain was very effective in the eighth. And now it's Joe Nathan's turn.
Swing and a drive, but foul down the left field line. That thing was hit a ton. Way foul.
Home run distance for Nunez, who only has 4 homers this season.
One for 4 career against Nathan, hit by a pitch as well. Little chopper. Joe comes off to make the play, going to tag him himself. 1 out. Let's check in with Justin White now to see what's going to happen on tonight's Tigers Live.
Inside the Coliseum studios, I'll be chatting with Max Scherzer, hopefully about his 18th win of the season, and as always, you'll hear from Brad Austin. That's Tigers Live right after the game, guys. Back to you for now.
All right, Justin, thanks. We're 2 outs away from that happening. Aaron Hicks will stand in now with 1 out. Whistling foul back out of play, 0-1. And again, Tigers pitching tonight has allowed just 5 hits so far. Scherzer 2 outs away from his 18th win in his final start. Make it 0-2 now on Aaron Hicks. Same 2 ball clubs tomorrow. Swarzak, Porcello will go at it. Tigers, if they win tonight, would chop the magic number down to 2. Here's the 0-2. Swing and a miss. 2 gone.
A real nice breaking ball here thrown by Joe Nathan into Aaron Hicks to record a strikeout.
11 strikeouts for Tigers pitching tonight. Here comes the crowd. 33,077 tonight. Escobar looks at a strike. Swing and a miss. Oh, and 2. Here's the 0-2. Tigers win. Escobar strikes out. Ball game over. Joe Nathan a 1-2-3-9. 12 strikeouts for Tigers pitching tonight. And the magic number is 2.
And depending on what happens in Chicago tonight, the Tigers could be popping some bottles with their fans here tomorrow.
Right now it's 2.5 over KC. They are tied with Chicago on the bottom with a 6-3. And wipe one more off the magic number, down to 2 to win the Central Division. They'll be back to Comerica Park.